So without further ado, let's begin learning about NFTs. So let's first understand the basics of NFTs. Jessica, could you shed a little light on what exactly are NFTs?
Yeah, sure. So NFTs, I guess everyone heard about the definition that they're non-fungible tokens, but what they really are just like units of data that are non-interchangeable with each other, and they can be linked to anything, be it like a digital file or a physical good. And if you want to understand this in a more like simple manner, they're just smart contracts that are stored on the blockchain, and then they can just be sold and traded. That's basically an NFT. The NFT is just like the technology, and then they can be linked to art, for example. So yeah, basically that's just the definition of an NFT.
I understand. So then how are NFTs different from most cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, for example?
Yeah, well, the thing that makes them different is that they're non-fungible, whereas a Bitcoin is a fungible token, which means that one Bitcoin is has the exact same value as one other Bitcoin, right? And to give you another example, at least in the art world, people like to give this example, like the Mona Lisa is non-fungible, right? So there's like one Mona Lisa that was created by Leonardo da Vinci. It's currently in the Louvre Museum, but you can go on the internet and you can find like many images of the Mona Lisa. You can right click, save them, but doesn't mean that you own that Mona Lisa, because there's only one Mona Lisa that has so much value, right? So NFTs are just like that. They are unique and they cannot be exchanged with one another. Just like the Mona Lisa, there's only one of them that has this value, because like the value that has one NFT is the value that people want to give to that NFT.
That is very interesting. So now understanding where exactly is NFT stored in? Is it a blockchain, or where is that NFT stored?
Yeah, so all of the NFTs are still stored on the blockchain. So the blockchain is like a huge decentralized and distributed library that stores information, right? Here's like, I put a little scheme of the blockchain so people can understand. So like transactions are validated in those blocks. So let's take the example of art NFTs. I'm an artist. I'm gonna mint means like put an NFT on the blockchain. So I'm gonna mint an NFT, and in order to put it on the blockchain, there's like a consensus mechanism that needs to validate like this transaction. So once the mechanism validates my transaction, it's then stored on the blockchain in a block. So I think that each block can have like a limited amount of transactions stored inside. And then there's another block that's going to be created, and each blocks are linked with this hash. And this hash makes it super secure. So it's like a cryptographic hash, and that's how everything is maintained super securely. And that's basically the blockchain. So all the transactions are just like stored. It's transparent. People can like check it out if they want. You can go on Etherscan or even on NFT marketplaces, and you can check the history of all the transactions. And it's like infinite. It just grows like that. I don't know if it's clear, but that's basically what the blockchain is. And it's just super secure. And there are like 4 features that are really important. The blockchain is like immutable, decentralized, secure, and distributed. And that's what makes it like so different from our current internet, because there's not one governing authority. It's like governed by like, it's like a peer-to-peer network, right? So it like everyone needs to validate the transaction. There's not like one person that can shut down the system, right? Like last year, I think we had some problems with like Facebook for like a couple of hours, like Instagram and everything was down So imagine like all of the people who rely on Facebook ads or on Facebook just for their businesses. So if someone decides to shut Facebook down, people can't do anything about it because they just don't own it. And that's how it is. But the blockchain is so different because there needs to be like the majority of people that decide that, okay, like this is bad, we need to shut it down in order to shut it down.
That's very, very interesting and very empowering to know as well.
Yeah, and also I just want to say that because the blockchain is like such a complicated technology, and I think that even I use it, at least in the art sector, to buy and sell NFTs, but I'm not an engineer, and there's so many things that I don't understand, and I think that many people don't understand, at least at the moment, because it's so complicated. But I guess like the idea is just to understand that it just stores information, it's transparent. At least for the art world, it's super revolutionary because you can track, you know, like the life of the artwork, like who put it on sale and who bought it at what price, etc. So to give you an example, like if as a collector, I go on a marketplace and I want to buy an NFT, I can check the history. I can check like when the artist put it for sale, what price, who bought it before me, at what price, who sold it, at what price, like everything is recorded. And you can also check the profiles of other people online. You can check how much money they have in their wallets, and it's super transparent. It's crazy.
That's very interesting. Would you also like to shed a little light on if there are different types of NFTs, and if you have a picture of like the collection that you own, a small picture or a small collection, if we could see?
Yeah, for sure. So like, as I said before, NFTs are just like the technology. They're just like smart contracts that can be linked to anything. So there are currently super many types of NFT. Like there's art, collectibles, games, like, how do you say that? Real estate, virtual real estate, anything you want. I think like there are so many more options that we haven't figured out yet. But I personally am super much, at least at the moment, into art NFTs and collectibles as well. And that's some of my own collection. So I bought these NFTs on object.com. It's a marketplace on the Tezos blockchain. And so these artists are, the two first ones are Swedish artists. They're actually a couple. And the one just after the woman who's walking in heels is a French artist. Her name is Lulu XXX, and she has been involved in the crypto space for super long, and she's quite famous. And I bought maybe like 200 NFTs on the Tezos blockchain because there are, as I said before, there are different blockchains, and there's like the Ethereum blockchain that is super famous. There's also other types of blockchains like Tezos, and they both rely on a different consensus mechanism. For example, on Ethereum, it's a proof of work, which means that if as a collector, if I go on Ethereum and I want to buy NFTs, the gas fee, so the transaction fee, is going to be super, super expensive depending on the time of the day. But let's say that if an NFT costs like 150 euros, as a collector, I have to know that I might need to add like 100 to 200 euros on top of that NFT. But on the Tezos blockchain, because it relies on another mechanism, which is a proof of stake, there's basically no gas fee, and it doesn't consume that much energy. And of course, if people want me later to explain like the real difference, like how they work, I can go into the details.
Definitely. There's actually a question by Noah here about blockchain. So he's wondering, is it that you have to incorporate the NFT in the blockchain, or is it done by someone else? If you could shed some light on that.
Okay, yeah, actually, I can answer this question because it goes with what I was saying. So, okay, let's say that I'm the artist and I'm minting the NFT. I don't have to do anything. It works like that. So for Ethereum, which is a proof of work, there are many different people in their houses who just bought a lot of like computer systems and these kind of things, and their computing systems are always on. They get heated up. Like there are YouTube videos that you can check. It's crazy. And then, okay, someone puts the NFT on the blockchain, and then everyone is going to try to solve some mathematical problems in order to validate this transaction on the blockchain. And the one that validates it at first will just like be the one who like can put this NFT on the blockchain. That's for Ethereum. But then for Tezos, for example, people who validate the transactions need to have like to buy a lot of Tezos before, and the one who owns the most Tezos will be the one who will be chosen to validate your transaction on the blockchain. So that's how it goes. Like, but me, I don't need to do anything. It's easy.
Okay. That's very interesting. Actually, we never really know about the back end of how the NFT is getting created. So thank you for shedding light on that. Another question would be that, can you tell us a little about the first known NFT and what was it?
Yeah, so the first one, it's also an interesting question because there's, well, I will say that later, but it was created by I think, yeah, his name was John McCoy in 2014. It's called Quantum. So it looks like that, but I think in real, it just moves, but this is just a picture. And he first minted this NFT on the Namecoin blockchain. It was like something that worked on Bitcoin. But then he sold it with Sotheby's in 2021 for like $1.4 million. But now there's like a problem because they're actually having some court problems because someone is claiming that the original NFT is not the one that has been sold. So I don't know how this is even possible, but there are some problems going on. But yeah, the first one is like, there has been some tests, I think at the same period, but the first one who minted something on the blockchain was McCoy.
Okay, that's very interesting. So moving on to the next section now, Estefania, would you like to?
For sure, because I think we got a great brief and summary on how NFTs work, what are the basics and the entry into blockchain. But I think like thinking on myself and like what most of the attendees must be asking is like, what is this difference between buying and owning an NFT and also like creating and selling an NFT? And it's great to have you, Jessica, here because you just mentioned to us that you are first an artist, so you have experienced the side of creating and putting your NFTs and also the other side of collecting NFTs. So if you can just share with us like how you operate in these two sides, because now we saw like a bit of the background, how it works in the back end, but from your experience, when you get started, like how can we start, like, for example, owning and buying NFTs if, let's say I'm Estefania, social media manager at Wikifactory, and I just want to get started. Like, how can I do that?
Yeah, well, basically anyone can get started. You just, as long as you have a computer or a phone and some money, you can do it. So you need to first always have crypto. Well, there are some marketplaces that now have like some, you can pay with credit card, but I don't think that that's the way to go because the whole idea of NFTs is to just like use the crypto and it's decentralized and everything. But basically you need to buy crypto. So I usually use Coinbase because it's super easy. It just has a bit like higher transaction fees than Binance, but it's okay for beginners. So you buy your crypto and then you have to get a crypto wallet, and this crypto wallet will help you store all of your digital assets, like all the NFTs you buy from the marketplace. there are different wallets for different blockchains. So the most famous one for Ethereum is MetaMask. And the one I use, for example, for Tezos is Kukai app, but there's also Temple Wallet, for example. And then you just have to transfer the crypto you bought to your crypto wallet. And then you can sync this crypto wallet to the NFT marketplace. That's how you connect to the marketplace, right? For
And
example,
how long does it take that whole process to buy some cryptocurrency and then put it them on the crypto wallet?
yeah, it actually depends. For example, like Coinbase takes a little bit of time because they make it super secure. So they will ask you to validate your identity, right? So they will ask you some papers like your passport and a proof of where you live and everything. So depends. Sometimes it takes like 5 minutes, or it can take up to a couple hours. And then when the process of buying the crypto and transferring it, usually it doesn't take so much time. It takes like 5 minutes. But it just depends on which crypto and which like wallet and everything. But usually Ethereum and Tezos, it has always took me like 5 minutes. So it's pretty fast.
And I guess it doesn't matter where you are in the world, like you can acquire cryptocurrencies anywhere in the world, pretty much.
Yeah, I think pretty much. Maybe there are some places where you can't do it, but I have to admit that I don't really know those places. But yeah, pretty much from anywhere in the world. Yeah.
And after we got the cryptocurrency, we have it on the crypto wallet. How do we then acquire some NFTs?
Then like you sync it, so you connect it to the marketplace. That's how you, for example, in Web 2, you have to put your email and then your password. But in Web 3, you just connect your wallet on any marketplace or website. And then once you're logged in, you're good to go. You can just check like what NFT you like, and then you can just click on the button to buy it. And what you always have to do on the blockchain is that you have to confirm your transactions, right? Because they make it also super secure. And of course, someone has to validate your transactions on the blockchain. So every time you buy something, you have to go from the marketplace back to your crypto wallet and put your password. It will validate the transaction. So if you're buying on Ethereum, it's going to show you that, okay, you have to pay the price of the art plus like 50 euros gas fees. So you check it, then you validate it. So always check what you're validating so you don't get like hacked or anything.
And that's very, very insightful. And for example, you were mentioning that you also collect and that you can take a look at the different NFTs that are available. From your experience or in the way that you do it, how can you say that you decide on which NFTs to invest or to acquire?
I'm the type of collector that will mostly buy NFTs to support artists or because I really love the art. I'm not so much in the speculation thing. I try to speculate. I have bought and sold some NFTs, but not for anything like for a huge amount. It's fun, but that's not like really what I want to do. But if some people are interested in flipping NFTs, there are many things that they should check. So of course, always check that the artist or the team behind is not anonymous, because you never know, like some people can replicate the profile of another artist, and then you end up buying something that is fake. And this really sucks, and it happens every day. So the best is always to check that the artist's profile are linked to a Twitter account, and then go on the Twitter account and check that it's the real Twitter account and not the scammy thing. And of course, I always like to check the community. So I'll always go, like Twitter is like the #1 social media for NFTs. So I always go on Twitter and I check that the artist or the team has like real followers and not just like some bots that are interacting with them, because many people try to like prove that there's something special, but they just like are using some bots and they're just scams. And of course the art, there has been many problems also, because like there can be like super famous projects such as like World of Women or Women Tribe and all of these like famous projects on OpenSea, and then there will be other teams that are not scams but are trying to kind of copycat the art, right? So you don't want to end up buying someone who just copycats and doesn't have their like real and original vision. And also you can check the utility, but I would say that utility is not the most important thing, because many teams will say that, yeah, okay, we will do this and that, and then they never do anything. And of course the roadmap, like the roadmap needs to be also like unique and not just a copycat of anything else. So check this at first, be active in the Discord, and then buy it. And then it's speculation, so fingers crossed, because you can't ever know like if it's going to be a good investment or not. I mean, people make money because they buy in a lot of projects, right? And if you want to speculate on like more artistic NFTs, so not like big collections, because now I was more talking about like big collections on Ethereum, but if you want to collect art on Tezos, so on the blockchain that I use, you can, for example, check the secondary market sales of the artist. Check like every time the artist makes a drop, who's going to buy it and at what price they're going to sell it. And if people buy it for like 5 Tezos and resell it for 100 in 5 minutes, then it means that it could be a good investment and you could flip it quite fast.
Yeah, this is very insightful, because my brain right now is just processing all the different names of the cryptocurrencies, the marketplaces, the crypto wallets. So it's very interesting. I think like the one that I knew was Twitter, that it's the social media, and Discord, where is now where we chat. But definitely, like, I think it's a process that we need to start like learning by doing and like start testing. So I feel that it's very interesting. And for example, just another question, like, is there a minimum amount of money that I need to have into the crypto wallets to start buying an NFT? Like, how much is the cost? Because I've seen, and I like the fact that you are supporting emerging artists, but I've seen that it can go from some hundreds to even millions. And sometimes people may think, oh, I need to be a millionaire or rich to buy NFTs, but in reality, how can you do it, or how much can you need to invest?
That's a really good question. And I think that many people think that you need to be rich to buy NFTs, because the media only shows like people like those artists who sell for millions. And these are just like a part of the NFT market. But I started my collection with 20 euros. So anyone can just start buying NFTs. And especially that's why I talk a lot about the Ethereum blockchain and the Tezos blockchain, which is used a lot, at least like in France and in other countries as well, because the founder is French. But again, Ethereum is a proof of work. So people need a bit more money to start, but you don't need to have 1,000 euros. You can have like 300 euros and you can still buy NFTs on Ethereum. But on Tezos, because you just don't pay any gas fees, and there's like art that costs like $1, and I'm not kidding, like even less than $1. So you can buy so much. It's just like playing a game. Like you just top up your card and then you're like, oh, let's go shopping, and you can buy like maybe 50 artworks with 20 euros. And the thing is that they're not like shitty artworks, sorry for the word, but they're really like super good. And some of the like many artists who started on Tezos, for example, there's like XCopy, who's super famous, and he started selling for like $10, and then now his artworks are worth like hundreds of thousands and everything. So you never know what you're gonna buy. So I would
That's
say
so interesting.
Yeah, I think it is super interesting, because the art world has been so exclusive for years, and people couldn't afford buying like physical works. And now, I mean, the monetary barrier at entry is super low. Like anyone, even kids, can start buying NFTs.
And from the other side, if I am a creator and if I want to start selling my NFTs, what's the process? Like how you get started? Yeah, basically what do you need to do if you want to start to sell some NFTs?
No, I mean, the process is exactly the same as for the collectors. You need to like have the phone, crypto wallet and everything. The only difference is that you just have to create something. So if you make art NFTs, of course, and then when you create your NFT, you can put it on a marketplace, because those marketplaces are not like, they're not all like hugely curated. So anyone can just mint whatever they want. So there's like, you don't even need to be a professional artist or anything to mint your NFT.
That's so great. And now that we're talking about selling and collecting NFTs, I have a question that it's asking very specific question, because it's gonna create a first collection on the NFTs and it's in the Tesos blockchain. So she or he or they are asking if there is any tip on how to scale every image in the collection to the same size, and how is the process of downloading them and then uploading them into the websites.
Yeah, now I think this person is talking about FXHash, which is a platform for generative art. And I have to admit that I cannot help you on this one, because I haven't ever used it, because I can't code, and I never sold anything on FXHash. I only bought things, but I guess that you should be able to find answers on Twitter. You should maybe follow the coder. I think it's NFT Biker, that's his name. And he can help you with all of these questions, or you can just maybe send me a message on Twitter. I have some friends who used FXHash, but I can't unfortunately answer this question.
So for this one is more tech, like you need to have some coding experience, and
yeah,
and it's more complex process.
Yeah, it's only for generative art and people who can code. And then also like putting them on the blockchain is a bit different than just like uploading a picture.
Okay, that's so cool. So I think we are ready to move into the next section and go back with Priam.
Yes. So before we move on to the next section, I would point out here that for very specific questions, please feel free to reach out to Jessica. She has her own startup, which is about educating people on NFTs, and I'm sure she would love to sort of answer your doubts there. So now moving on to the business world. Jessica, could you let us know the importance of NFT in the business world?
Yeah, for sure. Right. Well, NFTs are becoming super important, and at least super many companies have tested the NFTs or are planning to test them, because I mean, I think it's a technology that's going to disrupt all of the industries, because the technology behind is so powerful, and NFTs can grant so much utility. And when people used to buy, for example, let's say a product or a ticket or something, okay, they buy it once and then that's it. That's it. You can do any, like, of course you can have like, you can register to some newsletter or some like fidelity programs and get some discounts and everything, but that's it. But the difference with NFTs is that the consumers can get even more power, because they can, of course, resell the NFTs. They can get access to different things, such as like conferences, or they can promote social good. I will give you an example that is happening actually right now. There is the French brand Guerlain, which is a luxury brand. They did like a drop on the Tezos blockchain, actually. So if people are interested, you can go and check what they minted. And their idea is that they created some, I think, 1,828 like sort of flowers that people can buy. And every time someone buys a flower, they will plant something in France. And this is a way to, for example, promote social good. So the consumer isn't just like buying an artwork that they will put at home, but they're buying something that will change the world, right? So I think that this is a super nice example of what we can do with NFTs, and also because it's transparent. So when you can code anything in an NFT. So let's say that I will buy a flower from this Guerlain drop. Maybe they had coded something in the NFT so that like the shares of the money will directly go to this organization. I'm just inventing like to this organization that is gonna plant the flower or whatever in the land. So you can do so many things, and I think that this is super cool. And to give you other examples, there's like Nike and Adidas. For example, Nike, they bought Artifact, which is a startup that makes digital like merch for the metaverse, and they also make avatars and everything. And they bought this because they know that the new generation is super much interested in spending time online, right? So for example, people who bought a Clone X, here's a picture, they're like avatars, they will get like even more NFTs after. I think they got some special drops like not so long ago. And it's just like the way that you give the power back to the people who buy are like infinite and super powerful. Adidas, I think they made something a bit different. They worked with G Money and the Bored Apes to create this like first drop. And the idea was that people who buy the NFT will also get the physical merchandise at home. So let's say that, I don't know, you buy this avatar or whatever it is, and then you can get a pair of sneakers at home because you're a holder of this avatar. Another example is, for example, Surge Women. They're an organization helping women enter Web3, and they're having their drop next week. And people who are going to buy their NFT will get access to Web3 education. So I think that they're offering like 40% on crypto tax like software that you can use, and you can get access to a Web3 incubator, and they have a huge list of things that you can get exclusive access to. So I think that brands are trying to figure out the way of how they're going to use it. So is it for an educational purpose, or is it to just create a super strong community and give them access to other like utilities and everything. But yeah, basically this is how it's used at the moment. But I really think that people are just testing now, and that in like a year, maybe businesses will have figured out a better way to make use of those NFTs.
Yes, and this is especially helpful to understand right now when we're in the beginning phase, because it'll be so interesting to know where this leads us and where NFTs take us. So building on that, what is this metaverse that people are talking about now, and what exactly is metaverse?
Yeah, well, I think there's many people who have different definition of what a metaverse is. But what I think is a metaverse is a place in the digital world where people will spend more time doing things. So it can be like, I don't know, like going in the mall and doing some shopping in the metaverse as an avatar with your friends, and buying stuff digitally and receiving them also physically. For me, that's the definition of the metaverse. And of course, I think many things will be developed this year, because it's obvious that the younger generation, I mean, I'm a millennial and I already spend super much time online and I'm already super interested in the metaverse. And I can't imagine like younger generations, like Generation Z and Alpha. I think that they're really gonna spend maybe, I don't know, 80% of their times, doing play to earn games or attending concerts in the metaverse, going to fashion shows, going to art exhibitions inside of the metaverse and everything. For example, like me as an artist and a collector, I use the metaverse to showcase what I bought. So this is a little bit different because this metaverse is called oncyber.io, and you can't really enter it with an avatar at the moment, but it's super nice. It really looks good. And it's really cool because you can share this link in your link tree, for example, and anyone can enter in my own show. And I think that this is super cool because collecting art in the traditional art world can be nice, but then, okay, you put it at home and no one can really, benefit from it or see it. But now, like in the NFT world, like everyone can get access to your own world and you can share it, and people can maybe buy my NFT because they can just like click on it, get all the info, go on the marketplace and maybe like buy it on the secondary market or something. So I think that this is revolutionary, and also it's, at least for the art world, because that's my specialty. I think many people still don't understand why people collect art NFTs, why they store it on their phones, why they don't have them hanged on the wall at home and everything. But that's the whole point of NFTs. It's like, it's a community of people online building things and sharing what they have, and yeah. And this is a screenshot I took from Decentraland, just to show you how it looks if people, maybe no one made a tour inside yet. But I attended some concerts. I think it was in the Sandbox, but it kind of looks a bit like a Decentraland. And it's fun. Like you can create your own avatar. And if there's a concert, you go in and you can dance, you can jump, and you can interact with others. Like it's really fun. But I have to say that I think that the metaverse is not on point nowadays. It still needs to, people still need to work on it so that we would actually really want to spend super much time inside. It's maybe different for the game industry because, okay, playing a game with avatars or anything, it's fun. But if you actually want to spend time inside and interacting with others, I think it needs a little bit more work.
That's very interesting. And I think it's very interesting to know what the future will be like. Even right now, there's so many interesting things that are happening. So it'll be great to be on that journey. I would now invite Estefania to ask Jessica about her startup and tell us a little about that.
Yeah, you know that I actually heard about Art from Future. I think it was last year, or from another article from the university or somewhere. Like someone tagged me, and then I was like, I'm gonna start following this girl to see what she's doing and what's happening. And I remember it started all the hype with the NFTs and everything. And I've been following you on Instagram and seeing like everything that it's coming. But I really appreciate having the chance now to be speaking with you and getting to ask you like what inspired you to start with Art from Future, and how did you start giving it shape? Like if you want to share with us your entrepreneurial journey with us, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I had the idea, like I started my career as a visual artist in France, and after I graduated, I had so much hope. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna like go in galleries and do lots of exhibition and like get paid for what I do. And then I worked for 3 years as an artist. I did a lot of like cool artist residencies and exhibitions, but then I noticed that I never get paid for what I'm doing, and it's super hard to get gallery representation. And so I started like even asking people my age, like, do you ever go to a gallery or museum? Who's your favorite artist? And people like were like, no, it's boring. I don't want to go to an art gallery or a museum. And the artists I know are like Picasso and Dali. And I was like, don't you know like any young artists, like living artists? And people like, they don't know because the art world was just so like old fashioned, you know, they just didn't want to spend time there. And then I understood that there's a huge, like a huge problem with the art world. It's so like outdated, and something needed to be done so that artists could be like connected with the younger generation. So I decided to create my startup, and that's how I ended up at ESCP. I did the Masters of Cultural Management for a year, and I developed my project there. And my first idea was to build a platform for artists so that they could monetize their art without the need of intermediaries. So I was already in 2018 thinking about using blockchain technology to use them as a certificate of authenticity and everything. But the idea of NFTs, I just never heard about it before 2021. So after ESCP, some time passed and I was working on my prototype and the website and everything. And then I actually launched Art from Future in March 2021. So at the exact same time when, you know, Beeple, like the news were talking about Beeple and everything. And I had just launched a small prototype, which was a marketplace for artists. So they could just sell their art and connect with their collectors and everything. And like the time passed and I was like, this is not what I want to do. I want to use the NFTs and blockchain much more. So eventually in October 2021, I started testing myself as an artist. I started selling my art, and I noticed that how, sorry to say, but how easy it is to connect with people online, and that you really don't need any galleries to validate you as an artist and start selling your works. So in December, I thought that, okay, I will stop what I'm doing because I sold, like artists sold some artwork through Art from Future, but for men who worked in finance and were like 50 years old. I was like, this is really not what I want to do. I want to like educate artists in Web3 and really help them succeed in the NFT space, because I thought that artists are struggling in the traditional art world because it's outdated, but also because they don't know how to sell themselves. They don't get the proper education. And I think that if we educate artists now at the beginning of like NFTs, then they might have a chance to really live from their art because they can master the technology and how to sell themselves. So now I'm building this this new like project, which is a Web3 community.
That's great. And it's also so important to see how every startup, like I work in a startup, so I know how you need to be so agile in the way that you keep changing, adapting, better understanding the users, better understanding your vision and what you want to do. So it's great to see where it is going and that you feel that it's finally doing what you wanted. And the most important is to connect the arts with the collectors or with the community or with people in general, because I do feel the same with you, that sometimes the art market is completely different to what art is in general. So it's very interesting. But in terms like of from an entrepreneurial mindset, like what are the advice that you will give to anyone else who wants to get started to become an entrepreneur in the art world, or not necessarily in the art world?
Yeah, well, I would say like, I think some errors that I made was to always be scared of what others would think, of sometimes not listening myself and listening to others' advice, and maybe just like be in the action like if you have an idea, don't start researching for 10 hours or doing the super cool business plan, because I'm sorry, but business plans are just crap. They're not, it's just like the vision that you have, that you might have, but it never ends up the same. And eventually you don't check it after like 2 months. So just like test your idea, and eventually you'll notice that your first idea wasn't even what you really want to do. You know, that's what exactly what happened to me. And just yeah, don't be scared of others. Don't listen to anyone's advice, even if it's like Mark Zuckerberg. Don't listen to anyone's advice, because no one has your vision. No one understands what you're trying to achieve. And also people think that like they will think that, oh, it's been a year and you haven't like really made it, or like you're not monetizing your business enough. And no, it's super hard. It's super hard. It's not easy, and it might take like 3-4 years before you really,
or even more years sometimes. Yeah,
exactly. You know, it's, for me, it's just like, it's been a bit over a year, and I'm just starting to bring really money regularly in my startup. But it took me like a year, and I think I'm starting to find the product market fit, but it's still taking some time. I'm still testing stuff every day. So I think like, just don't care about others. People will criticize, people will give you advice, but just like do something. It's the best way to learn.
that's so great. And we're gonna talk about art from future a bit more, but I just want to remind the attendees, if they have any questions that they want to do, like they can just write in the Q&A section and we can keep asking. And we also got a few questions during the registration form, so we will be asking and getting some questions in a bit. But what you're saying, I think it's a great advice in general. And I can tell you, like, where I work is that tech startup focused on manufacturing, so probably has nothing or very little to do with the art world, but the way it works is very similar. Like, you need to test, to iterate, to find your product market fit, and it might not be the first thing that you thought. And sometimes we're sold this idea that, oh, we started in, these students that dropped university, started in a garage and boom, they were millionaires. But in reality, there's a gap of a few years that need to pass, and they need to master all their product before they actually turn into the millionaires or billionaires. So that's a great advice. And from your experience, what can you say that it was like some of the greatest challenges that you faced with art from future?
I think like for me, something that has always been a problem was to also find, like, I'm a solo founder, so I have been a solo founder since the beginning. So that has been a challenge for me, because I live in Finland and I started the company in the midst of a pandemic. So it was super hard to find anyone, but also to find someone who shares my vision and who's as motivated as me to, you know, work on the project without getting paid. And it's not easy. And so that has been like a huge challenge for me. But I think I started noticing this year that I've had a lot of calls with people who were interested, and it just we never ended up working together, and I was always disappointed. But now I'm like, thank God we didn't work together, because we just didn't share the same vision, and the project has changed so much. And it's been challenging, but also like, because that's also something, like, many people tell you that you need a team and you can't do it if you're all by yourself and everything. But I think like maybe for a couple of years, it's good to be alone if you have an idea and you're like still trying to find like what you're gonna achieve. It's better to be alone instead of being with some people who will not like actually do the work or really help you. So this was really one of the challenges. And also I would say, like, being a woman in this industry is not so easy, especially now that I'm entering the Web3. People don't take you seriously. Like, you will also notice that most of the Web3 companies, even in the art sector, they're founded by men, or the most famous ones. They're always like created by men. And so people tend to really like explain to me every time what's blockchain and NFTs, but I've been studying it since 2018. So this is sometimes a little bit hard, but other than that, I think that it's been an interesting journey. And of course, the challenge of not giving up in the bad, bad periods was also quite hard. So I'm happy to be here today and like talking about my business, and I haven't gave up yet. So